Different properties with different returns. It's sometimes really, really confusing when you get into a commercial property space because you know your returns and you know your outgoings, you know everything back to front in the residential space, but you're just really struggling in the commercial space. I'm here in my neighborhood shopping center, and I'm going to share with you all the different types of tenants that's around here, what kind of returns they should be getting, and how secure they are as a tenant, and whether if you're a first-time investor, whether you can afford or you should be investing any of them or not. My name is Helen Tarrant. I help everyday Australians become wealthy through investing in commercial property. This channel is about personal finance, wealth creation, and of course, the most important thing is commercial property, which is a vehicle that's going to get you to financial freedom. So let's go and explore the different properties. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. So here we have the vet. The vet is the ultimate security tenant. Everybody wants a vet. However, if you're buying this vet here, it might be a small premise, and I know that I can't go in right now. This is probably a premise that will still probably set you back about $1.5 to $2 million, and the return is probably going to be somewhere around that 4.5% to 5% because we're in Sydney on the North Shore. This is a pizza shop here that only open in the evening. I'm going to expect that this is going to be a little bit higher because the market doesn't consider this type of property as secure. So you'll probably get that mid-5s and maybe a little bit more like 5.7. Here we have a cafe. Now this cafe is probably one of the foundations of this area. It's very, very big, got a big outdoor area and a big indoor area. Now it's really, really busy as you can see and just packed full of people. So to buy this cafe, you'll probably be looking at that $3 million plus section. And the rents they're going to pay is somewhere probably around that 150 mark or a little bit higher. They've got multiple staff members and loves coming here. So that's probably one of the foundations here that keeps it pumping, keep the traffic flow. And a lot of people come here purely because of the great food that the cafe serves, and it serves a local demographic as well. So that's a very secure property, right? And you'll probably be getting about 5 to 5.5% in terms of net yield here, and that's if you're lucky. If you're not, it's probably going to be in that 5s or sub-5s because of the security you pay. They're probably on a really long lease, about maybe a 7 or 10 year lease, and they've had the same owners probably there for the last 15, 20 years. So again, security. A little chocolate shop. They've all been here for a long, long time, this chocolate shop. It's a nice little chocolate shop, and they open a few days out of the week. Their cakes are really, really yummy, and a lot to buy their cakes. However, you wouldn't really consider them as the most secure type of tenant. And the pure reason for that is because how much demand is there? A lot more demand for a cafe, for a vet, for even the pizza shop on a weekly basis versus a tenant that just sells pure chocolate, right? It's a discretional spend. So you're going to expect a higher return and less because it's less security. We have a news agency here. The news agency is definitely one of those places that most people at the moment are shying away in terms of investing. This news agency has been here ever since it's been constructed, probably 25 to 30 years. They probably make a lot of their money from the lotto and from the scratchies and from people probably picking up parcels and doing their banking here because this term there's no banking. This one, you'll probably find that people are interested the least when you go to market with a property like this. The leases are probably going to have about 2 years left, and they're going to be on a rolling lease, and you're probably expecting well over 6% in terms of the return. However, one of the reasons I would buy anything else is when I look around here, I've got a liquor shop, I've got a brand name tenant, which is LA Bachet, I've got a physio, I've got a dentist, and I've got an IGA, a hairdresser, and I've got a fruit shop, as well as the news agencies. You might think, okay, I don't really want to be investing in a news agency, but if they were ever to go broke, you could just find a like tenant that's going to work really well in this type of environment with the foot traffic that's going to be giving you better rents and better returns and increase the value. So I would buy the news agency in terms of long-term longevity if I'm considering holding this property for the next 10 or 15 years. We come to a physio here. There, a dentist there. Pretty much tenants that everybody wants right now in this current market. And the reason that everyone wants this type of tenant is because longevity and security. All the locals know them. All the locals come here. They know that they have put significant amount of money into building their business. They've got longevity. Look, a dentist fit out is like $400,000 for something like this one has about 3 or 4 rooms in there. It's the dentist that I go to. So they know that they've got a captive audience, and we all know that banks love them. Banks love lending to dentists, and people love to ally health. So this makes a really secure investment. Here, if you're buying this property, you're expecting about 5%. Now, when I talk about 5% in net yields in commercial property, remember your tenant pays for all the outgoings and That includes management fees, land tax, insurance, all the things that you think of that you need to pay for in the residential world, the tenant pays for in the commercial world. So therefore, this type of property, you're expecting it to trade about 5%. So that will probably, dentists will probably be somewhere between around 2.5 million. This one here, it's 2 shops, so you probably trade around the similar to the dentist as well. So you're expecting to pay that 2.5, maybe even 3 million, depending on the rent they're paying for something like that in local Sydney, and they're expecting a 5% return. Now that's a net after all outgoings before mortgage. Ella Bache here is obviously brand name Tenant. They've been here forever. The same with the Thomas Cellar. This being a liquor place. This liquor place doesn't have a brand name like a Celebrations, doesn't have a brand name like Liquorland. So it's still going to trade, but it's going to have a little bit more in returns, because remember, everything in commercial property is about security versus risk. If you're purely chasing a 10% return, you're not going to buy in this area. This is like a blue chip North Shore area where we know there's traffic flow. We know there's always going to be people here. We know that these tenants are secure. So if you want a 10% in return property, you've got to go to a mining town. You've got to go to a property that has maybe 2-year leases or 1-year leases on a rolling lease to be able to get you that return. So it's all about how much risk you want to put up with it in return for the rewards you get, and how much security that you really, really crave and want. So when you look at a dentist, that's the ultimate secure property. And with that type of property, you know that while your returns are low, you're going to have that longevity. That tenant's going to be there forever. However, if you switch that and you go to the news agency, that's probably your least secure tenant. So you're going to have wondering, maybe one day the tenant will go bust. Maybe they won't survive the next 2 or 3 years. Maybe we have to swap out a tenant, gut this place, and really do a whole refurb. So I've got to put money aside for that. But when I change over the tenant, I'm going to have some pain. Maybe that's a 6 months or a 9 months pain when I do that. And then I'm going to see more cash flow and more higher value gain in my property. And that might be worth it. Now, everyone is different in their investment journey. So each and every one of these properties are different, and it suits different types of investors. So let me ask you a question. What type of investor are you? Would you like more security, or would you like more risk? Is the risk and the reward worth it if you were going to a 10% yielding property in, like, say, Kalgoorlie or a really small regional town? Or would you prefer to stay in Metro and get one of these properties at a lower yield, but ultimately gives you more stability and more growth in the future? Put the comments below. Let me know what you like. And tell me if you really enjoyed this video about exploring different types of tenants and what kind of other videos you want. And I can help you by making more videos just like this. Hit the bell, subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye for now.